And we are live. Let me just check Twitter. Let me just put a share it from my YouTube so I can get some more of you lovely faces from Twitter. Somebody's watching. Hi. I'm just going to share some of my live stream so that people can come join in. Give me 1 second. Come join my reading sprints. I'm not sure how long this will be. Maybe like an hour. So I might not actually get that much reading in. But yeah, I'm just here with my hot cocoa. And hello! Hey, welcome to Black and Blue Color Reader. Great to have you here. This is my first reading sprint that I've really kind of done in a while. I'll show you some of the books I got here while we're waiting. So we got, I don't know if you can see this. This I was very lucky to get. It's a copy of Mark Lawrence's, it's an arc of the book The Wouldn't Burn. So thanks to my here over at Fantasy Book Critic for organising that. And then the books I'm probably going to be reading today, I've got this one called Return of the Night by Gregory Kontaxis, and I'm about 50% of the way through that. Gregory is a guy, funny story, he came into my DMs and he was like, oh yeah, I've written a book and Mark Lawrence has had a look at it, and you know, and I was like, this kind of sounds like a scam because Mark Lawrence is a pretty big author, and I thought I was genuinely convinced it was a scam, and then I spoke more to Gregory and I got to know about his book, and so I'm trying to finish that for sort of the 9th of May, I think is the release date. And then we've also got this beautiful hefty chonker. I don't know if you can see my bookmark poking out there from the broken binding. This is the masterpiece of Warner by the one and only Brian Cahill, as he likes to pronounce it. And yeah, so those are probably some of the books I'll be reading today. I'm not sure how long I'll be going, but how is everyone? Please share comments, things like that. Ask any questions. Or just wait another few minutes before we start off the reading sprints. I guess how this is probably going to work. Yeah, it really is. I've been reading it mostly on the Kindle, but literally, I mean, that thing is a literal brick. Like, honestly, that is a bicep curl in itself. I love it. Have you read it yet? Have you started the Broken and Bound series? It's officially now my favorite series. I can't wait to finish this one and do a review on it all. I was doing vlogs, but I've recorded some stuff. I need to edit it. Yeah, I don't want to drop that on my foot. But hey, the good news, if I do drop it on my foot, I do have boots from work, safety boots, so that's all right. I got my hot chocolate here as well. I don't know if you can see, it's cool little mug. It lights up with like the planets when it gets warm. It's like a normal black mug, but yeah. And we'll just wait another minute or so. But I really appreciate you being here, Black and Blue Color Reader. I'm sorry, I should know your name by now, but I'm terrible with names, unfortunately. I didn't think anyone would join, so I'm glad I'm not alone. But I'll probably we'll wait a couple of minutes, ask any questions, anything like that. See who turns up, and then we'll do a reading sprint for like 20 minutes. I'll turn my mic off, and then we'll come back and chat again after 20 minutes. But if you're reading along with me, you can kind of come in and see my reactions, so hopefully that's kind of cool. But yeah. Just checking to see if anyone's seen on Twitter. But yeah. To be honest, I forget my own name because some people it's funny because the name Miggins, so it comes from my name Matthew and my surname, and it came as from an old youth leader at my church before, when I used to attend that, and I didn't really like it at first, and then it kind of grew and everyone started calling me Miggins, and that was basically all I was known as church, and that was all anybody knew me as, really, apart from at school when I was known as Matt a lot of the time. Anyway, I went to New Zealand for 9 months, and I tried to get people to call me Miggins. It didn't catch on, and so I got used to being called Matt again. And I came back to the UK, and everybody was calling me Miggins again, and I had to, like, it was like a reverse culture shock, but with my own name. So I'm like known by so many different things. But awesome to meet you, Dan. I know you like my funny stuff, I've got a fantastic video. I think it's so funny coming up. I need to record it tomorrow. I think it's genuinely funny, and the last one is, I'm not going to say anything but to spoil it, but thinking about it just makes me laugh. Hello, 3 viewers. Hi guys, welcome to the reading experience. We're going to start off in about 2 minutes, and I don't actually know how to put a title up on the screen. Otherwise, I would put like a countdown. But yeah, so if you want to join me, what's going to happen is in about 2 minutes' time, I'm going to start reading this book, Return of the Knights. I need to catch up on some of this. I read about 40 pages of Mark Lawrence's The Book That Wouldn't Burn today. So I'm about 15% into that. Hefty boy. 50% into this, and I need to finish them both at the same time. So yeah, I'll be reading that, and if you want to read along with whatever else you're reading, and then we'll come back in 20 minutes or so and chat again. I haven't actually read Scott Bakker yet. I've heard a lot about him. I've seen him over on Philip's channel, on Philip's Chase. Oh, no way. Your first name is actually Harry, but you've gone by Dan your entire life. I think that would be an interesting story. That is, wow, okay. Okay, well, you're very welcome, Dan, if that's how you wish to be called. And yeah, and I hope you really enjoy reading Scott Bakker. I hear a lot about him. I think I'd like him because I really like my history. I was really into my history at school, and I've heard it's kind of like historical fantasy kind of blend. So yeah, anyway, let's give it 1 more minute. But yeah, yeah, hopefully I'll be doing a few more of these. The problem is I work, like, I'm off this week, so I've been able to do this, but I normally work in the evenings, and so when I can sprint, people will be at work, if that makes sense, in America, and a lot of my viewers are American. So I need to actually work out where I'm actually at the page count in this. I'm pretty sure I'm about halfway through. But anyway, I need to check my story graph. I read so many books at once. I'm literally reading 7 books at once or something crazy that my story graph is a lifesaver to keep track of everything. I just can't read 1 book to save my life. Really, I can't. I am on page... I'm 43% through, on page 170. Okay, awesome. Okay, so... let me go to page 170. Oh, no way, I missed that. Well, I was probably at work. Oh, no. Well, I just got this mic. Oh, my first ones were awful. Nobody joined, and yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. To be fair, it was because I didn't plan it. Yeah, I just got this mic, this wireless mic, because I want to do I want to go traveling. I want to do street interviews and things like that. And so I got this one it was from China, and I got it cheaper on AliExpress than on Amazon. So I got a good deal, and it means that I can, have a wireless mic and I don't have to worry about anything. So hopefully it's working. But, well, I'll have to check out your next live when I'm next around. I'm terrible for keeping up on YouTube. I've got so many channels I follow now, but I really appreciate the support. And definitely keep trying, man. It takes a while, but once you get going, the momentum's there, and as long as you enjoy it, that's what matters. Anyway, so let's go for 20 minutes. I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes on here. and on my computer. There we go. And we'll read for 20 minutes and I'll mute myself and then we'll come back in 20 minutes. Enjoy whatever you're reading if you're reading, or see you in 20 minutes if you want to come chat. Just saying hi to the second person. We're just doing some reading sprints, so going on for another 13 minutes. You're very welcome. I'm joining reading Return of the Knights by Gregory Kontaxis. Yeah, there we go. See you in 15 minutes. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. Welcome. I know we had Tori join us in between. If you're still here, hi Tori. I hope your writing's going well. So I've just been reading Return of the Knights, and I got through 1.5 chapters. One is chapter called The Lost Master. So I'm literally probably about halfway through now. And I'm actually really enjoying it. This chapter's a world building chapter, and oh my goodness, I love world building. So yes, please, thank you, Gregory. It's a very unique world. I don't want to go into it too much. I don't want to spoil it. Well, I can't. I just can't. I have to mood read. I probably will just be reading Return of the Knights, to be honest. I need to catch up on that. If I had longer, I would switch on to War and Ruin. But yeah, I usually read about 5 on the go. I normally have 2 audiobooks and 2 or 3 physical copies, and then that's like 5 or 6 actually reading. And then I also have like 10 or 15 I've probably started, and then I'll go in between them all. I know I'm crazy. I'm insane. But I'm very lucky and very blessed that all these books that I get to read, that I'm enjoying. And yeah. So you're writing, Tori. How is, if you're still here, Dan, how was Oscar Backers? Yeah, I don't know how I keep track of it. I got notes on my phone. I try and keep notes. I've just been reading as well. This morning I was reading the book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I read about 40 pages of that. There's so many quotations in that I've noted down the page numbers because it is really good. It's my first Mark Lawrence book. I'm loving it. Oh, no, wait. Okay, you got music, right? Please tell me you got music. I cannot wait to read this. I literally cannot wait to read your book. It sounds awesome. I've got to make time on the TBR. There's so many. I was saying to Zamil Akhtar on Twitter earlier, I've got to make time to read his books. Elder Epoch, that's given me a bookgasm, seeing all the stuff coming out about that. And then we've got L.L. McRae's The Shadow Gate. I think it's the sequel. It's coming out. I'm just listening to The Iron Crown right now. I'm listening to audiobook with R.J. Bailey. It's chef's kiss. It's like One Piece, and also it's like the world building is like One Piece, where it kind of like slowly kind of builds up and the world expands and the crew kind of like come together. It's got found family. It's great. So many good books. Yes, you cannot write an intense battle sequence without music. Yeah, it's crazy. It is ridiculous. And seeing all the stuff with PLs, the Lord and King, and seeing all the quotes coming out of that. Oh my goodness. So good. Yeah. It's an insane year for books. It was really interesting, actually. I was having a conversation with my granddad, who used to work in publishing, or printing more correctly. He's 90, and he's fascinated by the fact that people are reading again. Oh yes, go on, Tori. And I had this really interesting conversation with my 90-year-old step-granddad, all about publishing, and he was just astonished that people self-publish. And he said, because he goes into the bookshops and from time to time, and he sees the celebrity books that because that's what you get in what we call W.H. Smiths or Waterstones. You get like the books you see from people off of TV, and they're the ones that are front and center. And so he was astonished to discover that you didn't have to be famous or rich to, publish a book. I told him it's very different from when you've done it right now. And it's amazing to hear his life story of when, he left school at 14, sorry, and he couldn't read, and he ended up being a proofreader, and he ended up having his own printing company and being relatively successful. And yeah, he's amazing. I'm really hoping he'll sit down for a few videos with me and kind of share some of his life story for you guys on my new channel, because he is a amazing guy and such an inspiration. But yeah, so there's 3 of you now. Hey guys, welcome. I'm doing some reading sprints. We'll do another 20-minute sprint in about 5 minutes or so, and then I may have to go after that. It depends, if my dad needs to go to bed or whatever. Yeah, shout out to Len Cooper. He is amazing. He's a veteran as well of the Korean War. He's done a lot with his life, and I'm really honored that he's my granddad's, and yeah, he's one of the best guys I know. So I'm spending as much time with him right now as I can, because I keep joking with him, you got to stick around till 2027. That's when I'm going to be back in the UK for a little bit. But who knows? I don't know if he will be around by then. He could be. But yeah, so I'm spending much time with them. I was out there in the garden with them, helping them gardening. And, he's crazy. He's 90 and he's still driving around. He's still, on his knees, putting his potatoes in. He is Samwise Gamgee at 90. I love him so much. Yeah, that's going to be hard when I have to say goodbye in November next year. So, but that's why I make the most of it now. And yeah, it's awesome to hear his insights on publishing and seeing how far it's come. But yeah, if you guys got any questions or anything, please feel free to ask me or share in the comments about what you're reading or what you're doing in these sprints. We'll give it another couple of minutes, and then we'll do another 20-25 minute sprint. I did have some hot cocoa, but it's finished now. Sad times. Yeah, I can't wait to finish this Chunky Boy. Not because it's like bad, can't wait to finish it, because it's just so good. It's so good. Please tell me you're going to be reading this series soon, Tori. Please tell me. It is amazing. But this thing literally, I'm going to see how long I can hold it for with one hand before it gets really painful. It's already starting to feel very heavy. Yeah, it's. I don't think I could hold that very long. This really isn't an exercise implement. We'll give it another minute. Oh yeah, you read the full. Ah, oh, awesome. You started the correct way. Yeah, that is the way that we all do it. It's interesting because Ryan talks about it, that, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can read the full first if you want to be an action kind of start person, or you can kind of read the Of Blood and Fire first if you want to kind of be more kind of immersed in the world and see some more of the world building first, which I always found interesting because I'm a world building person. I love it when we get lots of information and things. Although obviously I'm not a fan of info dumps per se, but it's I think that the Fall is the world building opener. It kind of introduces us to the gods and everything. It's to me, that was the obvious world-building choice to start there. It wasn't I don't want to, be spending 200 pages of the world being kind of formed before I do anything. I want to get into the action. I read it because I was oh, this, sounds cool. I want to read the novella and find out about the history before I dive in. But yeah. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's a big investment. I read the first half of it, 45% of it in 2 weeks, less than that, and then I just got burnt out. Not because it's bad, it's just any book like that I get burnt. Like any book I read that consistently, I get burnt out. But yeah, that's why I have to switch up, because I can binge something and read like 40 pages a day for like a week, but then I won't be able to read like for like another week. It's just the way it works. It's the law. It's the law of Tronkland. Thou shalt not read for more than 40 pages a day for more than 7 days in a row. Otherwise, thou shalt not be reading for 10 days. Anyway, let's give it 30 seconds, and then we'll go into more sprints. It's fun to have you guys here watching. You're very welcome. Let me reset it. Let me do 25 minutes because I want to get some substantial reading done. Welcome if you've just joined. I know Tori's here, Dan was here. I'm not sure if you're still here, Dan, but it was great to have you if you weren't. So we're going to go for 25 minutes, and I'll set the timer and go. Good luck with your riding, Tori, and I'll look forward to checking out your battle music later. Okay, guys. Let's take that off. If you're still watching, it's probably Tori. Hope your writing sprint went well. I got through another sort of couple of chapters. So I'm now 53% through Return of the Knights by Gregory Kontaxis. And there's some intriguing things happening. I'm looking forward to reviewing this book. I'm excited to see what other people think of it. I think it's definitely got a lot of very, very interesting world building, and there's a lot of history and politics in this. So for you world building fans, there's a lot there. It is rather expositional at times, but I think I can definitely appreciate the forethought that's kind of gone into this. I'm really excited to see what others think of it, because it is a medieval-esque setup, but it has its own flair, and I know that some previous readers have compared it a little bit in terms of the world building to Johnny Wirtz in the case of Wars of Light and Shadow, not in terms of the prose. It's very different prose, but in terms of the kind of magical creatures, what do you call it, like propagating, I suppose, is the term, the land. So I've enjoyed my time. I'm 53% through that. I've got a couple of weeks to get through that. I've got this 900-page beta that I'm behind on. I've got to read that. I've also got to read the book that wouldn't burn, and I think they're coming out on the same day, so I've got to make sure I write at least written reviews. I don't think I'm going to film reviews, but at least written reviews for them both. But yeah, I've got to go soon because it's getting late here. But thank you to everyone for joining me. I may come back on tomorrow, actually, because I want to read this baby. I just want to read more of it all. But I didn't get the War and Ruin, so I think I want to read some more of that. And catch up on my beta, and maybe more of the book that wouldn't burn. But also I'm going to be reading that tomorrow. The premise of it, I can actually read you just before I go the blurb, and then I'll go into a little bit. I'm only 15% into it, but this is the blurb. It's the greatest story can reach the stars. Ivar has lived his whole life trapped within a vast library, older than empires and larger than cities. Levira has spent hers in a tiny settlement out in the dust where nightmares stalk and no one goes. The world has never noticed them. That's about to change. And so I don't want to spoil it too much, but essentially it's kind of what it says in the back. We follow these two characters called Levira and Ivar, and they're both, Levira is basically from this place called the Dust. It's almost post-apocalyptic in a sense. I get the sense that there's some kind of climate change kind of thing that's gone on there. But I haven't got that far yet. And then Ivar's this guy, he's in this library, and you can kind of see it here. It's an amazing cover. I would definitely check it out. And it's like this never-ending library, and the way that it's described is like these towers of books, but it's described as like a forest, and these stacks of books kind of come alive. And Ivar is one of 5 people who's like the last of his people that basically they kind of got transported to this pool. It's kind of like a portal into the books that they're reading, and they got stuck there for years, and basically everyone was killed whilst they were gone, and now they're stuck in the library, and they don't quite know what the library is and kind of what's going on then. It's very mysterious. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil it, but yes, we follow these 2 stories. So one with Ivar in the library, and then one with Levira, who is kind of on her way from the dust where she was born and lived, and then into the city where they have the library. And so their 2 stories are going to kind of intersect. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really impressed. It's very different from what I thought from Mark Lawrence. there's a lot of depth and characterization there, which isn't what I thought, which isn't what I wasn't expecting. It's more that, you know, obviously I know his book, you know, Prince of Thorns, and things is very, very grim, dark, and brutal, and so I knew this was different, but it surprised me. Just the style of writing, just everything. I didn't know quite what to expect. So I think that's one of the best ways to do this. And this library is so atmospheric. It's so cool. Anyway, yeah, the sprint went well, Tori. I kind of got a little bit further, so I'm 53% into this, Return of the Knights. My review will be coming out for that at some point in May. It's got a cool cover. Have a look at this, baby. It's really cool. I believe the sword is the Sword of Destiny, which is on the front. But yeah, I would say out of, you know, the books I'm reading now, that the book that wouldn't burn is kind of really taking my interest right now, most of all. I mean, they're all really great in their own way, but I think that one has the most unique premise, whereas, you know, of War and Ruin and Return of the Knights, they're kind of more typical classic fantasy. So even though, you know, it's done very well, especially in Of War and Ruin, you kind of know what to expect. But with the book that wouldn't burn, I really don't know what to expect, and I'd kind of recommend that going in without knowing what to expect. Yeah, there's I think there's going to be a lot of emotion there. I can already tell, you know, Mark's kind of layering it in. And it's interesting because I know that Mark and Gregory are kind of, you know, they know one another. And Gregory's in Mark's Discord. And so I accepted this before accepting this for review. And so, yeah, I'm reading them both at the same time. And it's funny because, you know, they're kind of friends, and Mark's kind of helped Gregory, I believe, a little bit, which is kind of cool that I'm kind of reading them both at the same time. Anyway, yeah, I've got to go now. It's getting late, and my dad's going to go to bed soon. But I've had fun doing this. I might come back on tomorrow. Yeah, depending on what country I'm in. I don't mind what people call me. I do like both. I do like having a nickname. It's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to have you, Dan. Oh yeah. Go look after your kids. You're making them sound like hamsters. Feed and water them. Have fun, Tori. I can't wait to see and read your battle sequences. I'm sure they're going to be epic because you listen to epic music. Anyway, thank you, and maybe see you tomorrow, guys.